Hi everyone, in this video we're going to look at using a number line to add and subtract with negative integers. So integers is just a fancy name for saying a whole number. So we're basically just going to be working with negative whole numbers. All right, we're going to go through this slide and then slideshow, and then we're going to do some examples together. So negative numbers are numbers that are less than 0. So -4, -3, -2, -1. And integers, as I said before, are just whole numbers. So you can see there we're going from -4 to 4. So numbers that aren't integers would be something like 0.5 or -3/4. Okay, so we're only looking at whole numbers, and we're looking at both positive and negative numbers. So you would have seen negative numbers used perhaps when looking at the temperature. So maybe you've been to the snow before, or a very, very cold country like Canada, which would be freezing right now. Usually their temperatures are in negative degrees. Okay. So we've got a number line there. So we're going to use a number line to learn how to add and subtract negative numbers. And then eventually you'll get to the point where you no longer need a number line. But number lines are extremely helpful. So I strongly encourage you to use a number line. All right. So if we've got an equation like this, so 4 plus +3, okay, so that just means the 3 is a positive. We're used to just seeing 4 plus 3, but with numbers, we just assume they're positive unless they've got a negative sign out the front of them. So this is basically the same as 4 plus 3, which we know is 7, but we're going to use the number line to show how that works. So see this little girl on the number line? So let's call her, what can we call her? Narelle. Okay, we'll call her Narelle. So Narelle starts at number 4 and she faces the positive direction. So the positive is on the right side and the negative is to the left side. All right, so she's starting at +4 and she's facing the positive direction and she wants to move forward another 3 places. So come on, Narelle, let's go +3. 1, 2, 3, and she ends up at 7. All right, so that you're probably thinking, why would I need to use a number line for that? So when we're doing negative numbers, so much easier to use a number line. All right, so here we've got an example of 2 minus +5. So that's the same as saying 2 minus 5. And kind of think about if you had $2 in your bank account and then you bought something for $5, you're going to have -$3 in your bank account. But let's do that using a number line. All right, so here's Narelle again. She's starting at 2, +2. And this time she's facing the negative direction because because we're subtracting. All right, so the minus means we're going to face the negative direction. So you can see all this written in blue, and she's going, and because we're adding 5, she's going to move forward 5 places. So the minus sign tells us which way she's facing. All right, so she's facing towards the negative direction, and the +5 tells us that she's going to move forward 5. So 1, oh, she's going to move. Oops, I pressed the wrong button. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you can see she ends up at -3. It's a little bit hard. The 3's just gone on to the next line. Okay, so she ends up at -3. All right, now we've got -2 plus -4. All right, so -2 plus -4. So now it gets a little bit harder. So think about, where is Narelle going to start? What number do you think she starts on? And which direction do you think she faces? And is she going to walk backwards or forwards? All right, let's have a look. All right, so if you answered that she starts at -2, you are awesome. Now that plus sign means she faces the positive direction, but it says -4, so that means she's going to move back 4 places. So she's going to do the moonwalk, 3, 4, and she ends up at -6. All right, so -2 plus -4, she ends up at -6. All right, this time we've got -5 plus +7. All right, so think about where she's going to start, which way she's going to face. All right, is she going to face in the positive direction or the negative direction? And is she moving forwards or backwards? All right, so if you said she starts at -5, that's fabulous. You are awesome. And if you thought she was going to face a positive direction, that's great. And she's going to move forward 7 places. So come on, Narelle, let's get your walking shoes on. 1, 2, 3. What was that? Let's just see what came up. Click to add text. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And there we are at 2. All right, so -5 plus +7 gives us +2. All right, let's have a look at 4 minus -3. I think this might be our last one. So think about where we're starting, which direction we're facing in, positive or negative direction, and whether we're going backwards or forwards. All right, so there she is, starting at number 4. She's facing the negative direction, and she's going to moonwalk or move backwards 3 places. 1, 2, 3, and she ends up at 7. Oh my God, your mind is blowing at the moment. You're probably thinking, what is going on? All right, so that's when it gets confusing with these negatives and positives. So if you think of little Narelle, and I'm going to give you a little dog when I come back to school to move along your number line. All right, so we're going to do these questions. All right, you don't have to do anything right now with them because I have saved them to a Word document. And they're also in your book. So let me just get it open for you. All right, so you should be given a number line, but if not, you can just use the one on your screen until I'm able to print one for you. And I'm just going to find everything here on my desk. Okay, so we're going to do these questions together. All right, so just these 3 questions. All right, and then you're going to try some on your own in your textbook. All right, let me just get my pen ready. I want black, a different color. Let's use pink. All right, so for question A, so always remember the first number is where we start. So I'm going to start here at 3. I'm going to put that on there. We're starting at 3, and we're going to face it's a bit hard to do. Thinking on the spot because we don't have little Narelle with us, do we? All right, so what I might do is actually just draw ahead. All right, so we're starting at 3. All right, and we're facing the positive direction. So I'm going to draw a little head facing the positive direction. All right, and then we're subtracting 2. So we're going to go 1, 2, and we end up at 1. All right, next one. We're going to be starting at 8. So here's 8. All right, the positive means we're facing the positive direction. So for all of these, we're going to be facing the positive direction. So I'm not going to draw a head each time. All right, so let's just pretend we're facing that way. And we're going to subtract 3. So we're going backwards. 1, 2, 3, and we end up at 5. All right, 12 plus negative 6. So starting at 12, and we're going to subtract 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now you'll notice with these, you probably don't need to use a number line. All right, so that's just getting a little bit of practice, but you probably have picked up that this is the same as saying 9 minus 7. All right, so that's going to give us 2. And this one here is the same as 1 minus 4. Now, if you're getting a bit stuck because, we're subtracting a larger number, you can just go to 1 and then subtract 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to end up at negative 3. This one here, we're going to subtract 11. So 6 minus 11. Again, you can use your number line, or you might be able to do it without a number line. So that's going to be starting at 6. And we're going to subtract 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we're going to end up at negative 5. All right, this one's going to be negative 2. You can use your number line if you like. And this one here is going to be 0 minus 4. Let's do that on the number line. So we're starting at 0 and we're going to subtract 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to be negative 4. Alrighty, I did have to pause, so I don't know what I was just saying, but let's move on to question 3. So questions like question 2, they're not as hard because you're used to seeing it as, say, 3 minus 2. But with question 3, here we're dealing with multiple negatives, okay? So it's going to be a little bit harder. So always remember the first number. So we're going to do question A. The first number is what your starting point. So we're going to start here at 2. And this time they're all subtractions. So we're always going to be facing this way. So let's just draw Narelle over here. All right, she's always going to be facing the negative direction. All right, and this time she's going to be walking backwards 3. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and she's ending up at 5. All right, so remember you can pause at any time, but me kind of switching between the colors does give you a bit of time, but if I'm going too quickly, just pause it and watch again. All right, for the next one, we're starting at 5. Same number, starting there at 5. And remember, Narelle's facing the negative direction, and then she's going to be moving backwards 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And she ends up at 11. All right. Next one, we're going to start at 20. And this time, I'm not going to be able to get on my number line. No. So 20 minus 30. I can only go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But if you think about it, we've got another 25 to go. So we're going to actually end up at 50. You might start seeing some sort of pattern here. And I usually don't tell this little hot tip until later on. But you'll notice that these two negatives are the same as what? What could we replace them with? I feel like I'm doing a little play school episode. You could do a little plus. Yeah? Does that make sense? So 2 plus 3 gives you 5. 5 plus 6 gives you 11. 20 plus 30 gives you 50. So when we've got 29 minus negative 61, that is the same as saying 29 plus 61. And that's going to give us 90. All right, don't need to do that on the number line. All right, but looking at the next four, it is a little bit harder because we're starting off with a negative. So let's have a look at E. All right, so Narelle's starting at E. So not starting at E, starting at negative 5, which is here. She's facing the negative direction, and she's going backwards 1. So she ends up at negative 4. Now that is the same as negative 5 plus 1. Gives you negative 4. Kind of think about it being negative 5 degrees, and then it gets 1 degree warmer. All right, so negative 5 plus 1 equals negative 4. I kind of feel like I've just locked my dog outside. I might just check. All right, all good. She was just barking at something. I don't know. All right, so the next one, we've got negative 7 minus negative 4. So we could read that. Oh, apologies. Negative as negative 7 plus 4. So if you can do that in your head, that's great. But let's do it first on the number line. First, before I give you the answer, that is. You can do it in your head. All right, so we're going to start at negative 7. All right, and we're facing the negative direction. We're going to walk back 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're ending up at negative 3. All right, negative 11 minus negative 6. So that is the same as negative 11 plus 6. Let's just find negative 11, which is here. And we're going to face the negative direction, and we're subtracting 6. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's going to give us negative 5. Now for the next one, I can't actually do this on my number line. That's why it's good to know that the two negatives gives us a positive. So negative 41 plus 7 is going to be negative 34. All right, so negative 41 plus 7. So it's negative $41 in your bank account and you get $7 pocket money. You're now at negative $34. All right, so these types of questions do get confusing. So use a number line as much as possible to help you, okay? So once you get the hang of it, you'll be fine, but it's all very new. All right, question 4, find the missing number. All right, so we're starting at 2. Where are we? Starting at 2, and we're going to add something to get to negative 1. All right, so if we're adding, we're facing that direction, but we're going back. How many spots until we get to negative 1? So 1, 2, 3. So 2 plus negative 3 gives you negative 1. All right, the next one, we're going to start at 3. And we are facing the positive direction, so facing that way. And we're going to go to negative 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 3, whoops, what am I doing? Wrong thing. Got to keep going to negative 7. All right, I subtracted 7. I didn't go all the way to negative 7. All right, how many did we go? I lost count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 3 plus negative 10 gives you negative 7. All right, for the next one, we're going to start at negative 2. So negative 2 is here. and we are we're facing the positive direction, so facing that way, and we want to go to -6. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to do -4. Ah, come on, computer. All right, the next one. We don't know what we're starting at. We're starting at something, and we're going to subtract 3 to get to 1. So you could use algebra to do this if you wanted to, but this isn't really that hard. We're basically saying, all right, we're going to subtract 3. So what number do we subtract 3 from to get 1? It's going to be 4. All right, for question E, again, we don't have a starting number, but we can just think about it. So this is the same as subtracting 10. So what would I subtract 10 from to get -11? So that would be -1. So when you think about it, here's -1. And I'm going to subtract another 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm going to end up at -11. All right, question F. What number do I subtract 4 from to get 0? Well, that's an easy one, 4. Question G. 5 minus something gives you 6. So again, we can start at 5. This time we're going to be facing the negative direction, and we want to end up at 6. So remember, we're facing, so Narelle is facing the negative direction, and she's moonwalking backwards. So we're moving backwards, so we're going to be subtracting 1. All right, these types of questions we'll have to do a bit more when in class with the little dogs when I can get them to you. All right, and question H is very similar, so let's do that together on the number line. So starting at 2, and Narelle's facing the negative direction, all right, like she is here, and she's moonwalking to get to that 7. So she's going backwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So -5. And remember what I said before, that your two negatives are the same as adding. So 5 plus 1 is 6. 2 plus 5 is 7. All right, the other questions you need to do, just on the bottom here, pages 384 and 385, questions 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, bye girls.